Time for another Josh cast. I've been dreading to do this one. Which means I got to do it, and I got to talk about what I'm afraid to talk about. In order to achieve a higher level of being, or to, I don't know, become a better person, maybe. So as I'm recording this, there have been protests and rioting in the streets. And it has to do with the murder of an African American by the hands of a white police officer, which is another in a long line of horrific tragedies associated with police brutality. And just another stark reminder that we are not living in a society that is currently 100% equal. I avoid even doing jokes about this. And I think it's because I am afraid of being canceled. I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing. I'm afraid of offending people. And I am going to, I'm realizing just avoiding talking about it isn't necessarily helping. It feels like it's a fear-based decision. And what I find usually is anything done out of fear not only hurts myself, but hurts other people around me. And so the fear of not talking about it, I think, is not a healthy thing. So let's talk about it. I don't feel like I'm doing enough to help, and I'm not even sure I know how to help. I mean, I went to the website, the Black Lives Matter LA website, and it said I should donate to a fund that is helping bail people out of jail. Excuse me, not Corona. So I donated to the fund, and I still, and I actually, after donating to the fund, in some ways I feel worse, because I didn't donate, a ton of money. I donated a little bit. And I don't want that to be, Grandpa, what did you do to really turn around race relations in America? Well, I donated a sum of money to the Black Lives Matter Fund. Well, how much did you donate, Grandpa? We don't need to go into details here. Are you the IRS? It was more than zero, and, less. It was more than zero, okay? More than zero. That's all you need to know. Now, why don't you go back and play with your toys? And since this is a theoretical future, your toys are probably just holograms in your eye sockets at this point. Go play with your hologram eye sockets. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I think, the other thing, here's what I do know. The other thing I should be doing is I should be voting in the local elections more than I do. I usually ignore the local elections and just vote for the national one every 4 years. But the local elections are equally important, perhaps more important. But even then, I just, there are pamphlets that explain a little bit about each person who's running, but what are they, that could be lies. I have no idea what to do, only to say that there is a problem. I think the worst thing I could do is say there's no problem, this is an exaggeration. This is not an exaggeration. I also think that the quarantine and the virus and the economic conditions, and I want to be careful about how I say this, because I don't think that when I say the protests are connected with that, I don't mean to say that the real problem is the virus. No, I actually think that the virus and the economy collapsing, and also the removal from society of those entertainment venues that normally perhaps would contribute to an overall distraction, now that all that's gone and people can focus on it, the underlying problems that have always been there are more evident. And, maybe we need a few months without going to the movies and going to baseball games to look at what we're doing and make some changes, which I hope changes come out of this. I'm very frustrated. It's very frustrating to see the Occupy Wall Street movement happen in, 2008, 9, 2010. And, 8, 9 years later, all the financial regulations, or not all, some of the financial regulations just get rolled back again. It's extremely frustrating to see that. So what frustrates me about what's happening now, I ask myself, is this going to make a difference? 6 months from now, are we going to, is this going to be the kind of pivot that the civil rights movement was? I don't know. I worry that we've become a unified social media culture of short attention spans, and that a week from now we're going to be on to the next thing that everyone's getting hysterical about. And it would be a shame if this was just another phase, as opposed to an opportunity to really make that change. But I'm speaking now in theoreticals. And I'm speaking now, in very generalized terms. What can I do in my own life to help with this, other than make a small donation to a website? What can I do in my daily interactions with people? Is it possible that that by making jokes about it, that are, jokes where the victim choice is correct, in other words, not, jokes that are designed to shock an audience, but jokes that, are kind of illustrating the truth of what's going on, can that help? And the one thing that occurs to me, or the joke rather that occurs to me, or the beginnings of a joke, is, I'm sitting there talking with people I know, and we're all white during all this, and, and I shamefully, what I must admit is we're all trying to figure out, what do we post on social media? What do? We don't know what to do. Do we put the black square? Do we not put the black square? Do we do nothing? It felt a lot like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade picking the right Holy Grail. You pick the wrong Grail, your face melts. And I can't tell you how pathetic it is that that's the conversation that's being had. People's rights are being consistently violated, and we're sitting here going, Jesus, I know, maybe we should just stick to Twitter. No. We'll post on Instagram, but we won't do Twitter. Grandpa, what did you do? Well, honey, your grandfather, in the middle of all of these riots, chose not to post anything on Twitter and Facebook. Your grandfather got out of the way. He's a hero. And can I also just say, as a Jewish person, perhaps I could offer this. Thanks to the Jews, the neo-Nazis have some choices on who they get to hate. So maybe we just have to be more coordinated in taking turns, when are we hated? And maybe the Jews could step in a little bit more and take more time. Maybe we divide it into months where, okay, you hate the Jews in the summer, you hate the Mexicans in the fall. We do something like that to just try to, spread it around a little bit. That might be helpful. I'm talking to a lot of comedians who don't feel funny during this. And I think it's because of this sense that I have that the riots and the looting, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of hope attached with this movement. It just feels like a bunch of people being angry, and rightfully so. But but what change is occurring? That's what's frustrating about it. And if all the change that occurs is, the other 3 officers are getting charged too, there's got to be more to it than that. And if all the change that occurs is, changing police department procedures, I think it's got to be more than that too. I think there needs to be a fundamental, I like that, a fundamental shift in the values that we as a hopefully unified nation feel, project, and implement. And not even a change, just really kind of going back to the source. All men are created equal, all people are created equal, and are entitled to the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's right there in the original document that somehow was written by racists. Well, not all of them. I think there were a few of them that, unfortunately, I think the non-racists were the better writers. I don't know. But it's a miracle they came up with that document. It really is. When you look at those founding fathers, our founding fathers, I shouldn't disassociate. Surprised the document wasn't, we're gonna be our own country, and you can't tell us what to do, and we're not gonna have a king, but we're gonna have a bunch, and the bunch is gonna decide on what we do and what we don't do, and no one's going to have to pay taxes, and we can carry guns, we can say whatever we want, and that's what we're going to do. Dear King George, we know what the truth is, and we know what the truth ain't. And the truth is, we do what we want to do, and we get to have whatever we want, and we can have lawns, and we can have big houses, and we can have we can be happy. You right now, if you tell us don't be happy, we have to do what you say, because you're the king of your thing. But we don't want you to be our king anymore. So that way we can say, well, we want to be happy today, and if you don't want to be happy today, then you can do whatever you want. But we're going to be happy. And that's what we're going to do. And that's the end of this letter. Signed, John Hancock. John, we're gonna rewrite this. I don't understand. It's perfect. I don't understand why it's not. I don't understand why it's not up to your standards. Well, John, it's just it's a bit rambly. I have the right to be rambly. That's why I came over here. That's exactly why I came over to this new country, because I didn't want to live in a world where I had to be succinct. Excuse me. Well, I'll tell you what, John, we'll include yours at the back. Okay? All right. Well, I'm going to sign it. John Timothy Hancock. Timothy is not your middle name. This is my middle name today. Dang. All right, well, there we go. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone with this. I hope I didn't. I probably did. I'm sorry. Should this also double as the apology? But I will say, though, one thing I am sorry for, and I felt the same thing with the Me Too movement, is I'm sorry that I get caught in my own world and I put on blinders to the rest of the world. And I want to do better and be aware of what is happening to everyone, not just me. Dial back the narcissism. Not get rid of the narcissism. Dial it back. So still be a little bit of a narcissist. Good plan, Josh. Great plan.